All right, good evening. I'd like to call the Board of Public Works meeting of September 6th to order with roll call.
Alderman Tom Grady. Here. Alderman Ted Grady. Here. Alderman Rapella. Here. Alderman Nichols. Here. Alderman Eisenach. Here. Alderman Sevenik.
Here.
Alderman Hammond. Here. Alderman Schmidt. Here. All are present.
Thank you. First item of business is the public comments on any matter listed with 5 minutes.
Thank you. Just to reiterate what I had mentioned earlier, regarding the future Oak Street extension, the bridge design, if someone could explain the difference in the pricing between the concrete span and the one that is proposed, which is a metal. The design itself, it looks like it was something like the old Mill Street Bridge that was torn down 100 years ago. And has there been talk about actually changing Oak Street to something more appropriate for that area? Bonta, Gilbert, whatever. I'm assuming these funds are coming out of the TIF district, or are these capital improvement funds? And then lastly, if someone could tell me how much money we've actually spent overall on the design for this bridge. It seems like every check register, there's a check being issued. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else from the gallery? Seeing none, we'll try to get to those questions when we get to that item. I'm going to jump to item 3, so we have a representative here with Menasha Utilities to deal with the change order. And I would entertain a motion at this point to take up item 3.
I'll make a motion for us to take up item number 3 ahead of protocol of what was on the change order, yes.
To Don Hippus. You'll have to read the whole thing though, because it's a dollar amount. Sorry to kind of throw a monkey wrench in there. We want to give him some time. He's been here since, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not.
Go ahead.
Oh, I am. I'd like to make a motion to accept the change order for Don Hippus and Sons under contract unit number M0003-09-21-00504, 22 for the water main and sanitary sewer reconstruction with an add-on of $46,574.72, and this would be change order number 3.
Is there a second? I'll second. Motion's been made and seconded. Seeing you've made it this long, I thought I'd give you an opportunity at least if you wanted to address this. And you're on already. Go ahead, push it again. There you go.
All right. Well, I see a lot of new faces here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Adam Smith. I'm the water utility manager for Menasha Utilities. These were just some add-ons that we experienced in the project, and I just wanted to bring it to, or have you recommend it to the council, because this did exceed the contracted price. So I just wanted to be here if anybody had any questions about these 6 line items that were listed in the packet.
Is that your true last name?
Adam Smith.
Sure.
Wealth of nations.
Anybody have any questions? Alderman Nichols.
Thank you, Chairman. Were these having to do with the Racine Street Bridge or that area?
There were a couple.
Okay.
One of them was just that when we, back in, I forgot the year, but we had a 20-inch water main that was drilled through by a directional drill company. It was repaired at the time. When we dug down to it, our initial diameter of that pipe was off, so we had to pay for the materials that were an increased price with a 20-inch rather than a 16-inch. We had to move a storm sewer out of the way. It was just a matter of depth that we originally had engineered. That was a change order. And then obviously the Broad Street, Racine Street connection, when we exposed the pipe, there was just a better solution to the connection at that point. The other ones were just adding valves in the project, and then we had to relay a small connection at 6th and Plank Road. We actually had a water main break there, and when we dug down it, the water main was in horrible condition. And while our contractor was in town, they decided it was best to relay that 20 feet of water main.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Nichols. Alderman Grady.
Thank you, Chair. Question, Adam. It says change order number 3. So is this the end of them, or are there going to be possible more?
There were actually, this is a joint project of sewer and water. This is actually, Laura, maybe you help me out, but this is the first water main change order that we've had. I believe the other 2 were with the Public Works.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, any further questions? Seeing none, thank you, Adam. At this time, we'll take a roll call.
Motion carries 8-0.
All righty, now you get to go home.
I appreciate it, thank
All
you.
right, thanks, Adam. All right, then we'll jump up to the first item, which is the street use application. Is there a motion? Alderman Schmidt.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to accept the street use application for the Menasha Homecoming Parade, which will be held on Friday, September 30th, 2022, from 5:15 PM till 6 PM, introduced by Menasha High School.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions? Alderman Rapella.
Thank you very much, Alderman Severnick. I hate to burst a balloon, but this is the second year in a row that it came in. It's supposed to be 60 days prior. And last year was, we poo-pooed it, we'd allowed the parade to go through, and it wasn't 60 days. And here, the same person, I'm not going to say her name, still sent it in, it's only 50 days. So this is the second time it's happened in a row. It's just disappointing to me that we have these rules, these ordinances, no campers parked in driveways, and a whole bunch of stuff that we just kind of don't enforce. And this is the second time that this individual screwed up. And we're going to poo-poo it and have the homecoming parade, as many of us are Menasha High School graduates. But she should be slapped on the wrist or something. Something should happen to her because it's her second screw up. So that's all I got to say. I mean, that's only 50 days. It's not hard to count days. Thank you.
Laura, can you address the number of days? Is it 30 or is it 60? On the application, apparently it says 60.
Right, it states 60 on the application, but I thought that was for a special event, but I could be wrong, that we've,
It's a homecoming parade, it's a special event.
but they didn't apply for a special event, they applied for street use. And I think when it's tied to the special event, that it's the 60, we've I mean, I guess we can reanalyze the process and procedures here, but it's typically been in enough time that staff can review it, and then for us also to go through Board of Public Works and Common Council. So we've been asking for at least that time frame to be able for us as staff to review it and also to meet both deadlines prior to the event.
But at some point, somebody in their ultimate wisdom on the Common Council 10, 20, 30 years ago said 60 days was the expectation. And we've never changed it to be from 60 days. And the marathon race that's in September, she had it already in March. So I give her credit. She's like 5 months ahead of time. So it was good enough for her. I mean.
Right, no, I agree, and we've been looking at this entire process from a staffing perspective, just because there's been a lot of nuances that we're really needing to look at and try and iron out and hold their feet to the
And I
fire with
just
this.
turned in to Megan the street use for the gather round, because I knew it needed to be in October 1st to be 60 days. So we've got it already in, at least it's dated September 6th, so it will be legal. So, thank you. I'm done.
So Laura, let's get that revised and the policies set for sure, so that, especially when it's a special event and.
I think Sam just showed me, it actually is in the ordinance that it's 30 days. So the ordinance is written 30 days, the application is 60. So I think for street use specifically, like I
Right.
said, I think it's the 60 for tying to a special event for booking. But for street use, it's the 30 days per ordinance. So
Okay.
yes, we have already been having meetings from a staffing perspective to try and clean this up and organize, because this paperwork even needs to be cleaned up. So we're
right.
working on it.
All right, thank you. So I also want to note that last year, it went up 9th Street because of the street construction on 8th. So this year, it'll be going down 8th Street, up Warsaw, onto 9th, and then Appleton, so zig, 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 zig. So, but I attended every year. I know Randy went last year, so he's an alumni. All right. This whole side is. So, all righty. With that, I'll just take a voice vote then. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, that carries. Next item is item 2, the Oak Street Extension Bridge. And we had some questions earlier. I don't know, Laura, if you had written those down or not, but can you address those quickly? And then if the body has any questions, we can take it from there.
So we're not going to have a price difference with the covered bridge. That was not an option we had pursued or considered when we as staff were looking at this proposed bridge. Some of the items that we were looking at were cost, timing of construction, when it could be completed, how can we access the peninsula or continue to access the peninsula to perform maintenance, future construction. There's going to be development, hopefully that's occurring over there. So those are some of the items with the clearance that we need to be cognizant of. Obviously, maintenance, plowing, turnarounds, there's all these factors that are a part of this as we've been looking at this layout. So what was brought back to us by the consultants were a few different options that are in the packet. Just your typical steel girder bridge, that's kind of your canned standard bridge, if you will. And one of the most cost-effective options, of course, because it is, from a constructability standpoint, typical for any contractor that comes in and does it. The truss is a little bit pricier. It comes in as basically one piece or maybe a couple of pieces that get bolted together and placed. You do have a little more clearance, so that was where we were looking at, is there's a little more line sight visibility with it. You can see more on the surface and underneath, because we're trying to have this be for recreational use. So you're gonna have that, it's gonna appear like you have more room above your head. We are making sure we have the clearance for passage, but it's gonna make it appear, more open than just your standard concrete bridge or a girder bridge. They had given us some options for wood, timber. The cost is actually more, and I don't know what it would look like for a covered bridge, if that has to be on a wood structure, or if that can be placed on
We're
a...
talking covered bridge, but, and I'm the one that suggested looking at that, but in my readings, I don't know where,
I'd heard it. Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
where it is on here. But, and the mayor said, yeah, it's in there, and then when I went back, I still can't find anything about the covered bridge. But my suggestion was,
We would need, if we did pursue it, and I'm only bringing it up or pointing it out for the fact that if we do want to pursue it, we will have to go back to the engineer and get
Sure.
more information on it for pricing.
and here's my thought, I threw it out there because you look at the area, it's going to be basically a park. a lot of people go down to the dam, they fish, they visit the area. I see it as a tourism thing for the city of Menasha. You don't have one, where's the closest one, Wapaka or something, or I don't even know if they have one, but Cedarburg. And I just thought, well, are we rushing into this? Do we have time to maybe look at this? Can we do something cool once instead of concrete or metal? And I just wanted to throw it out there. Now, the argument, and the mayor gave it to me the other day about, well, we have to be able to provide access to like a crane, but if you go out there right now, the crane's on a barge. So cranes come down there on barges. A lot of stuff goes down there, doesn't come over that bridge that we have there now. It comes on a barge. So that argument I no longer accept. But I guess it's all in the eye of the beholder. I have 2 drawings here. And there's a prefab steel bridge example, girder bridge example. Is that the one you're recommending? Or is it the second one
The second one.
that, okay.
And
And
this
let-
is, we want this to be a fluid conversation.
You know what, I mean,
For all of you.
the comment was made earlier about it looking like the old, that bridge that's down there right now that we walked over the other day, and I guess there's you know, you see that little column next to it, like that kind of a kiosk thing or something that with the brick, if you look at that picture, just by having that little bit, something right there improves the looks of that bridge completely. So, is this the most cost-effective then, you're saying?
The most cost-effective would be your steel girder bridge, the first option. This would be the second.
And again, help me out why we think that this truss example is better than the other one. The other one, you could add these elements to make it more attractive, you know, with the brickwork and kind of like what they did over there on 3rd Street, over by Tom. You have an answer?
Correct. The added elements would cost additional dollars if we were to pursue that on top of
You mean the steel girder
bridge.
one?
On top of the girder, right. If we were to add more aesthetics, more elements to it,
Well-
that would add to the cost.
I realize that, but I'm just saying, the bridge itself. Are you telling me that a prefab girder is or more expensive than a prefab truss?
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
I don't.
The price that they gave us on the last sheet was about $750,000 to $900,000, just to ballpark it. You're talking $150,000.
If there was a way to make the truss bridge a little more attractive, I would be okay, but I agree with what Ms. Taylor was saying. It looks like a railroad bridge. It's not attractive. And it's going absolutely the opposite direction that I was suggesting about a cover bridge. So any other comments? Oh, I'm sorry, Tom? Alderman Grady?
Thank you, Chair. I think elements could be added to the truss. I'm not really keen on a covered bridge. Just, for me, I think of a covered bridge out in the country. I've been to a couple of covered bridges. They're constant maintenance, a lot of graffiti on the inside, and to me, that really is and always will be an industrial site. I could see a covered bridge going over to Lake Park Road or wherever, on Willow Street over in that area. Those would be beautiful bridges there, but the maintenance, and then I find too that according to Laura, the weight of a covered bridge is much more substantial.
And my point is that it doesn't have to be your typical 1888 covered bridge. It could be something like this, like we did out on the trestle where we had the metal roof, you know, and more open on the sides, but it would look more like a covered bridge. So I don't know, nobody really wants to take the time and do things, and I just think here's an opportunity that we can take an area that could use some sprucing up and look nice, but,
Well, the sprucing up can come with other attributes to this,
right, like that, like I saw on the side there, that kind of that brickwork that's being done.
or something on the end when you get off the bridge or something that attracts you, a piece of sculpture or something on that line, but
Okay, so you have a recommendation here, and that is, your recommendation is that we go along with the prefab steel truss bridge, unpainted. Now, is this the type of bridge that doesn't need to be painted then? Is it designed that way so that?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So it just has that steel finish look, and it doesn't, we don't have to paint it every other year. Well, it's up to this body here. Any further recommendations? Any comments? I just thought if we had the time, we could look at the possibility of maybe doing some type of a cover bridge, even if it isn't from 1888 or whatever. So Ted, Alderman Grady.
Yep, thank you, Chair. I guess my question would be kind of as Sandra Taylor mentioned, where's the funding coming from?
Right, got those written down too, I was going to
Okay.
wait.
I don't know, is that for
So,
Laura?
so the
Or
funding
Sam?
question, it was asked, Laura, is it coming from the CIP budget, the TIF? Go ahead.
We had TIF funding allocated for this, correct? But we also do have a $250,000 WEDC grant that will also be applied to this. And I do want to point out, we wanted to come to you earlier on in this process before we got too far with any sort of design, because these costs are going to shift with how we shift this design. We're already looking at reducing the 70-foot span to a 60-foot. We're going to do some modifications that can try and kind of cut back on some of those costs, knowing that the canal is going to be more narrow. We want it to fit what the future will be. So, realistically, a lot of these costs will be smaller because we have less of a square footage of a bridge. We have a shorter span. Width, we're actually looking at narrowing slightly from what is in this proposal. So this is preliminary. We wanted to bring it to you to be able to talk through and kind of guide us in a direction so we know where to go with the engineer before we do work on trying to finalize some design. So funding is planned for the TIF, like I said, the WEDC grant. As far as, I know one of the questions was asked, how much have we spent on design? I don't have that answer on hand here, but our contract is for I believe it was $77,000 that we signed the contract for. So
Okay.
if we exceed that, we would have to come back to you for approval.
I don't know who's next, either were you next, or, no? Alderman Hammond.
Thank you. I was just going to say, when we were out there, Alderman Sevenick, the mayor, and I just kind of looking at things, looking at the Racine Street Bridge and talking about this, Alderman Sevenick had kind of made the idea of a covered bridge, and I think they're beautiful, they're really unique and cool, and thinking about it for a little bit, like it would be cool to bring that kind of aspect somewhere in Menasha, but I don't know if that's the right site for it. I don't know if it would obstruct the view of other things that are down there. And plus, it's more of an industrial style area. So do we want to embrace that and focus on the beautification and other proponents in that area? I don't think there's a right and a wrong. It's just picking what's the best option and how to go about it. So I just think with these truss bridges, some of them are cool. I'm looking at where there's a few different proponents, but finding ways that you can make it more aesthetically pleasing outside of just the bridge itself, which I'm sure there's a ton of different ways that we could go about that. So if there's a way we can make it unique, I think that would be a good idea.
Thank you. Alderman Schmidt?
Thank you. I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in. One of the things I kind of like about the steel truss bridge design, and I know you guys made the comment about it kind of looks like the old railroad. I honestly love when I look back at old pictures of what downtown Menasha looked like and what went across to the woodenware plant. The swing bridge, is a lot like that. So to me, I think it's kind of melding a little bit of the old in with new. So it's a new bridge, but it has some of the old world flavor from where the bridge used to be way back down by the old library that went across. So, just my 2 cents. I think I like it better
those
than
are
a
good
covered bridge.
points.
I just think that it's kind of melding some of the old Menasha with new as well.
And I have a lot of
Thank you.
those photos. Anyone else? Okay, then is there anyone that wants to make a recommendation? Alderman Schmidt.
Thank you. I will make the recommendation, and my screen just went black. There it goes. I would like to recommend to the Common Council to approve the selection of a prefabricated steel truss bridge in the style of the Warren Truss with the unpainted, self-weathering steel finish, and the design shall incorporate an 8-foot wide raised concrete trail section on one side.
Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded. I didn't see who made the second. Alderman Grady, Tom Grady. Okay, anything further? I had something to say and I can't think of it now. Okay. I guess we'll take a roll call then.
The bridge that we picked, is that going to have that little walkway on it?
That's what I was going to ask. That's what the last part of the motion was.
Motion carries 8-0.
Alderman Nichols.
Thank you. Did we approve the minutes from?
I was just going to
the
mention that
8:15
myself.
meeting?
I do not have a motion or a second on the minutes.
Oh, I thought we did that. Okay, well, we're doing everything a little backwards to entertain, like last meeting, to help out so people don't have to be here so long. So I will do that. Alderman Schmidt.
Thank you. I will make the motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Public Works 8/15/2022 special meeting.
Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded by Alderman Ted Grady. Anything further on those? Seeing none, all those in favor of the minutes, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Now I see we have no further business. Thank you, Alderman Nichols. Is there a motion to adjourn? Alderman Schmidt.
Thank you. I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion been made by Alderman Schmidt, second by Alderman Tom Grady to adjourn. Anything further? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.